Yes.
You know how to shut it off.
Yep, this is a Steve table. Nobody else can sit here.
Put the chair here.
Quiet down front.
Yeah.
Oh, you have one seat over there available?
Thank you.
And if you just sit outside and start calling in.
I can see this is outside. Cheryl, do we have a sign-in sheet?
I took care of the sign sheet, I didn't want them to have to use our pens.
I'm saying.
So I took care of them already. Yeah. I'm writing everything down. You're like, wait, I know. We won't be there as long as you. You sign this sheet? Oh, I'm bringing it down. Okay.
All right, it's 7 p.m. and tonight's the July 6, 2020 Hamlin Planning Board meeting. Sign-in sheets being taken care of by the board clerk. Okay, it's shown that we're maintaining 6-foot distances. Okay. At this time, I'd like to tell you that the fire exits are out the door and to the left down the stairs, and out the door and to the right down the end of the hall, and out that door is there's an EID outside if we need it, and if anybody has a cell phone or a pager that has not been turned off, please do it this time. Okay, with that being said, Cheryl, will you call the roll?
Linda Zaru, here. Steve Law.
Here.
Dave Martin.
Here.
Chris Schleider.
Here.
Mark Ellerstein.
Here.
Steve Nesbit.
Here.
Steve Hittner.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to look at the June 1st, 2020 meeting minutes? Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Discuss tonight.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second. Please call the votes, please.
Linda Zaru.
Yes.
Steve Law.
Stand.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
Chris Schleider.
Yes?
Mark Ellerstein.
Yes.
Steve Nesbit.
Yes.
Steve Hittner.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to declare a public hearing for preliminary and final subdivision site plan approval for the estate of Robert Brennan, 6390 Shore Acres Drive. Cheryl, please read the application.
Public hearing for preliminary and final subdivision site plan approval for the estate of Robert Brennan, 6390 Shore Acres Drive. The application of estate of Robert W. Brennan, owner, estate of Robert W. Brennan, seeking preliminary and final single lot subdivision to split the existing parcel located at 6390 Shore Acres Road from one parcel into two parcels. Takes account number 007.520-01-2626.1. This is in the SR zoning district with the following conditions: floodplain, CHA area, LWRP. This item was tabled on December 2019 until further documents were submitted.
Okay. Very good. At this time, I'll open this up for another discussion on the applicant control.
Good evening. My name is Bob Hatch. I'm the representative for the Brennan estate. As you folks know, we've been here a couple of times. I think we're to the point where the information that I kind of have is being rehashed, but because it is a public hearing, I'm gonna get the information out there for the public. Original cottage was acquired in 1965. It was originally lot 41 of the original subdivision. Additional cottage known as 6394 Shore Acres was purchased in 1975. That was lot 40 and subsequently combined with the original cottage lot in 1996. In 2000, Mr. Brennan acquired a portion of the parcel to the east of them, and that was combined, giving us today's current lot configuration. Mr. Brennan's passing, two of the Brennan siblings wish to retain the cottage parcel itself, and after consulting with an attorney in our office, recommended that they subdivide off the old cottage lot on the original lot 40. Obviously, it presented some zoning issues, and we have acquired all the needed variances for that to basically return the original configuration of lot 40.
Can you just try to trace that out?
Certainly.
For
Yep.
the public, maybe stand on this side and show them what.
Yep. So this was the original cottage lot here. This lot was purchased, and then a portion of this lot here was purchased afterwards. What we're proposing to do is restrike the old line and subdivide out this cottage here. So that's the plan. We originally tried to adjust the property line so it would miss some of these utilities, but the zoning board wanted to go back to the original lot configuration. That's the reason we're doing that. So there's various items that we needed to address. There's a common dock in the back here that we're going to be covering with an easement. There are two, a heating unit and an AC unit that straddles the property line. We're also going to cover those with easements. And then we had an issue up front where there's two curb boxes that the water authority installed. We had originally proposed to separate, move one over onto the other property line, but subsequent review from the water authority said that they could allow the use of one of those. And we're just going to put it into a small easement. So there'll be a little triangular easement down here in the corner, cover the water line crossing over onto 6390's property. So that's the plan for right now. There was some discussion last week, town planning board attorney, Mr. O'Toole, and I think we're coming to an agreement, or at least a consensus on the verbiage for the easements. There's going to be the dock easement, the easement for the HVAC, the curb box water line easement, and then we initially proposed a cross-access utility easement, but I don't think we're going to need that anymore. I think the four easements that we're going to show, 1, 2, 3, 4, will cover all the issues that came up in previous discussions. There was some discussion about the light and the two winches or davits out on the end of the dock. They are powered through 6390 and they're going to stay that way. Right now, they're going to agree to pay the power for 6390. And then obviously one addition that we made from previous plan is we added a little bit of addition to this easement to give them access to get across this portion of lot 1's property to get onto the dock. But it may not show on the most current version of plans that you have.
Okay. I'll open it up for comment from the public. If someone has some comments or some concerns, please stand up, state your name for the clerk, and have at it.
My name's Jennifer Voco. I'm at 6386 Shore Acres, so I'm the neighbor immediately to the east of Lot 2, I guess you would call it. I just want to say I'm here in support of the project. I think it's really nice to see people want to come in and make improvements to properties in Hamlin, and I think another property on the tax roll is always a positive thing. They've already come in and, sorry, sun in my eyes. They've already come in and made some improvements. They've hardened their shoreline already, which I think is commendable. It's a secondary home. They didn't receive any grant monies to do that. As we all know, the recent flooding events have been pretty catastrophic, and I do commend them for taking personal resources to go ahead and harden the shoreline without getting grant money to do that. I think that just kind of speaks to their commitment of how committed they are to the properties and keeping them maintained. I think the properties that they're proposing, the split is completely in character with the neighborhood, with all the properties down on the lake shore that are kind of have a lot of pre-existing non-conforming lots. I do have, so with social distancing, a lot of the neighbors didn't want to come. There is a Facebook page for the street alone in Hamlin and on Shore Acres. So a lot of the neighbors did comment. Sue and Rick Brennan just put out a general post out there, and I'm sorry I don't have copies for everyone, but I'll pass this around to you guys. They put pictures of the properties and explained what they wanted to do and asked if anyone had questions or comments or problems or if they supported it, and 14 neighbors stated their support, and all their names and addresses are here. I'm not going to give it to the clerk for like directly adding to the minutes just because it's people's names and addresses, but if you kind of note that 14.
So you support.
Yep. And I guess that's about it for me.
Okay,
Thank you.
perceptions. Pardon? What's your perception?
Especially since it's going back to the original lot configuration.
Finally, Facebook being used for something.
Positive.
Okay.
Well, it could have been negative. Someone could have said something negative.
But it
but
still would
nobody
have
did.
been appropriate.
Yeah.
And, no, it's very good. Did you take the helm with this one, or was it all on the Browns?
I might have made a couple suggestions, perhaps.
Well, that's one.
But no, really,
that's
that
one
was-
way to support a constituency.
That was their post, and you know, a lot of the neighbors. Some people asked questions. They said, "Wait, can you explain this to me?" So I was glad to see so many people support it.
At this time, is there anybody else that needs to speak in support or concerns or anything? Please stand up, state your name for the clerk, please.
I'm Richard Brennan, this is Suzette Brennan, we're two of the interested parties, so I just want to thank you all for getting to this point. I know it's been a long road for all of us, but we appreciate your help.
Are you part of the Brennan family from Dewey Stone?
No, well, yes, we are, Pomona Drive is where we used to live from years ago, right?
Yeah.
Used to live in that area.
I grew up in that neighborhood, I knew that.
How about that?
So.
Great.
Think we don't know.
Sometimes I wish I didn't know some people. Good?
Yeah, I think it's very impressive.
Okay. You want this back, or do you want me to just give it to the clerk?
You can just give it to the clerk. I think.
Give it to the clerk and, all right, anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna close the comments from the public part of this, and then I'm gonna go through the support personnel and the board. JP.
We had some minor comments back in May, and Bob has addressed those, so engineering concerns are addressed.
Keith?
I would ask that the board, as a condition of approval, make this approval subject to planning board attorney approval. I'd like to resolve the easement issues that have been raised. I'd like to tighten things up a bit more than what's shown on the map, but it's all very doable.
Okay.
With regard to seeker, I would note that I believe this is an unlisted action and that an uncoordinated review and a negative declaration would be appropriate. Nothing further.
You agree with the planning board's comments about?
Yes.
Cheryl?
I'm fully in support of it, going back to the original lot. It's gonna work out well for the family, and it's in moving the character of the neighborhood.
Mr. Law?
That's kind of what I said, I think it's, going back to original lot lines, a great idea, and it gives two families homes to either use a vacation or full-time homes, whatever they wish.
Very good, Mr. Nick. Call for it. Mark, no issues. Nothing.
In favor?
With that being said, I'm gonna close the public hearing. And I'd like to hear a super motion. If there's no further.
I'll make a motion that we consider the proposed subdivision plan to be a unlisted action under seeker and consider a negative declaration for the estate of Robert Brennan at 6390 Shore Acres Drive.
Second.
All votes, please.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Steve Law.
Yes.
Chris Slider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Steve Hittner,
Yes.
Mark Bellerston.
Yes.
Okay, with that being complete, I'd like to ask for a motion for a preliminary and final subdivision site plan approval with the caveat mentioned by the planning board attorney.
I'll make a motion that we approve the application of the estate of Robert W. Brennan, owner, estate of Robert W. Brennan, seeking preliminary and final single lot subdivision to split the existing parcel located at 6390 Shore Acres Road from one parcel into two parcels. Tax account number 007.520-01-26.1. This approval is subject to the planning board attorney approval. This is in the SR zoning district for the following conditions of floodplain, CEHA area, and LWRP.
A second.
Linda
We
Drew,
have a caveat. Okay. And I'm just gonna interrupt the motion for this. Do you want to hold off signing? Or do you want me to hold off signing until everybody's satisfied with the wording that you have?
You could hold it off until I sign. It's not recordable until I sign it anything. And we can't, Cheryl won't issue a permit until that's done.
Absolutely, I just want to make it clear. Okay. So it's in the minutes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
With that being said, we have a motion on the floor and it's moved and seconded. Cheryl, please poll the votes.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Steve Law,
Yes.
Chris Slider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Steve Hittner,
Yes.
Mark Bellerston.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
So we
Those of you who attended through this part of the meeting, you're welcome to stay. If not,
We got one more.
have no conservation.
oh, we got conservation development.
I'll just, I'm on a roll.
You're on the roll? Okay.
All right,
I'm just trying to.
recommend or move that the board approve the application of the estate of Robert W. Brennan, owner, estate of Robert W. Brennan, seeking conservation development permit to split the existing parcel located at 6390 Shore Acres Road from one parcel into two parcels. This is tax account number 007.520-01-26.1. This is in the SR zoning district with the following conditions: floodplain, CEHA area, and LWRP.
I will again second.
Okay, before we poll the votes, Janine?
This is consistent with the old one, there's no issue.
Okay, very good. Let the record reflect. So poll the votes.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Steve Law,
Yes.
Chris Slider,
Yes.
Steve Hittner,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Bellerston.
Yes.
Now you're excused if you want.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Thank you all very much.
Take care.
Okay, next item on the agenda is another conservation corridor development permit for 5708 West Watoma Beach Road. Mr. Sean Mauger
Doesn't appear to be in attendance.
is not in attendance. Janine?
When I did the inspection of this site, they wanted for a 6-foot-high privacy fence on the east property line, which is consistent with what's on the west property line. And there's also a line of trees on the east property line. So it doesn't change the view for the neighbors looking at the lake, so I don't see any issues with that. It seems to be consistent with what's there.
Okay. Please, without the applicant here.
It is generally not recommended.
Right. Have we done it in the past?
I think we did it on one occasion that I can recall, and I regretted doing it.
Is there a reason you might know, Cheryl, why the?
No, because he was notified via email and I spoke to him also. He was going to be here.
He was planning on it?
Yes. It's something that has happened.
Maybe hold up and see if
We can leave this item open till.
he shows up, actually.
Yeah.
Might as well be in there for 7.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, another conservation corridor development permit for Karen Hermance, 14 Summer Haven Drive. For removal and replacement of an existing drain pipe. Which one's from here? Somebody here? Please state your name for the clerk.
Bob Crowley.
Bob, I didn't recognize you with a mask. I'm very sorry, and you're not wearing your heart in. Okay?
And then you got to your left, you got that thing right there.
Catch, as you can catch. Did you break your heart?
Mrs. Hernandez has a water problem. And what we're projecting to do is put a 20-foot length of ductile iron through the existing wall. We dig out the one that's broken and not getting anything out. Digging it out, putting in a 20-foot feet. Then we're gonna have a 20-foot section because when the water comes over the top, it will go into the 12 inch. And we're gonna have, from that point, we're gonna run 140 feet of 12-inch plastic up to the road. When we get to the road, we're gonna put in a 12-inch corrugated as we go under the road. And then we were gonna go on the other side of the road about 12 or 15 feet and put another fish mouth for the water to get from the south side of the street. Because no matter what happens, right now, if we got a half an inch of rain, there'd be a flood in 3 houses over to the right from the water that comes. And we figured, and the only other thing that we did, we're gonna only have about 7 or 8 inches, 4 to 7 inches of cover over the pipe because there's only 10 inches of pitch all the way from the lake to where we can get on the other side.
Okay, Bob. JP.
How much cover is gonna be in the road?
The road's gonna have about 6 or 8 inches over it.
And you're using what kind of?
I'm gonna use the corrugated, not the plastic.
Corrugated metal?
Huh?
Metal pipe?
Yeah, corrugated metal pipe, yeah. Just same, everybody uses, well, quote, today they're using a lot of plastic, but we've had a little bit of problems with the ones that don't have at least a foot of cover. And you know what I'm talking about, right?
They come right out of the ground, Bob, so. Does that have any effect on placement of further infrastructure, JP?
Not at that depth, I don't see it.
And we're gonna be removing a few small trees on the south side of the road. And there's a couple of stumps that people cut off over the last years. And we've got to clean all that up, and we're gonna make it so that the drainage gets to this It's down through.
Is there a storm flap or anything on the pipe at the lake?
No, there isn't now.
So that you don't get storm backing up through it?
There's not one on the one that's in there.
It goes right.
It comes, we were there one day and the water was coming over and I, holy God. And 'cause, well, she doesn't live there right now, but the house next door is, Karen was Gretchen Howe, Gordon Howe's daughter.
Well, they've got the DEC permit, so that's, that's the biggest hurdle probably.
When we finish, everything is gonna be rock hounded, cleaned up, loaded out, there's gonna be no scrap left or anything. Then she's gonna seed it. I will not seed, there's a little reason for that, but that's been 45 years ago.
Have you had any contact with Highway Soup?
No, we've been dealing with sheriff.
It sounds like there's gonna be an improvement to some of the conditions down there, JP. Is it something we should sell to the highway superintendent, since we sandbag, plow, and everything else down there? What's that, Cheryl?
Steve Bass has been notified and he has been down there.
Yes.
Okay, he's in,
Yes, I told him about it.
just had to ask the question.
Mhm.
All right. Jenny?
Yeah, I looked at it, and I don't see any issues with it, they have the DEC permit, so it's consistent with public record.
Keith?
For secret purposes, it's definitely type 2, minor repair in essence.
Okay, Cheryl, where we go from you? Linda?
No, nothing to do with
Yeah, looks good, yeah. Mr. Lott?
What DEC is the biggest hurdle you guys tell me?
And then Mr. Hinton?
Yes.
Mark?
So there's gonna be a break in this pipe. That's, we're just trying to understand this drawing, right?
I didn't hear.
There's gonna be a break in the pipe, it's gonna daylight before it.
The pipe is gonna come through underneath the deck, or underneath that wall.
The wall, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have approximately 15 to 20 feet. Then we're gonna start the other 12 inch. So if anything comes over the top of the
So
deck,
it's gonna
it's
be wide
gonna
open.
drop right back into that 20 inch and go back out.
Are you gonna wrap that, a little rip wrap or something on the bottom of that swale you're creating, or what's your thoughts?
Under the pipe?
No, so you have a
Oh,
section,
you mean the 20-foot section roughly? Yeah, we can put number 2 stone in there, just like we put in the leach field.
okay,
It's no big problem.
all right, something like that, that makes sense. Future erosion.
He's gonna buy my breakfast.
And we're not installing the fire hydrant.
For a redwood. There's no problem with that opening in a pipe where you stop one?
No,
Where you're gonna, might have some scouring or anything?
yeah,
So
no, it'll be wide open.
Okay. So you'll leave it under. You don't do it. Danny or something. Well, maybe he listened.
That's my other comment.
Yeah, right.
What you say.
Okay. I think your son knows what to do. Very good. I'd entertain a couple motions, see if you're.
I make a motion then for, first of all, unlisted type 2 under CEQA. And make a motion for approval for the conservation corridor development permit for Karen Hermatz, 14 Summer Haven Drive. And the conservation development permit for the removal and replacement of an existing drain pipe which runs through a vertical gabion wall. This is on the SI zone, LRWP, CEHA area and floodplain. Tax account 008.140-01-006. Following documents have been submitted for review. Letter of intent, conservation corridor development permit application, instrument survey map, DEC approved permit, and LWRP.
Second.
Okay, second for the seeker. We'll do the seeker first. Okay? Full vote.
And then it's gonna go to the seeker. Linda Drew.
Yes.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
Steve Law.
Yes.
Chris Snyder.
Yes.
Steve Hitler.
Yes.
James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Mark Fowlerstein.
Yes,
Okay, who would like to second?
I'll second the other one.
Okay.
Second.
Okay.
I'll second the second one.
I did.
Yeah, I bet you.
Cheryl, would you call the votes?
Linda Drew.
Who is gonna be the inspector that we can contact you, give him this 3 days notice? Because we have, before we can put a shovel down there, we gotta get 811 and do all the, who is our contact person for that?
We'll do this,
Yes, yeah. I'll let Steve Glass know. I'll get you.
Let Dan know and I know, okay?
Okay,
That's
all
all.
votes, please.
Linda Drew.
Yes.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
Steve Law.
Yeah.
Chris Snyder.
Yep.
Steve Hitler.
Yes.
James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Mark Fowlerstein.
Yes.
Okay. You're good. You ready?
Thank you.
All right.
Be careful.
I've been forewarned. I've known him almost as long.
I put up with him for 27 years, so.
Yeah, it's good to hear for once. As you already get talked to him. He's only buying an open for breakfast.
Figure he's gonna.
Okay, application of Kevin D. owner David Dix seeking commercial site plan approval to operate a sign and decal business. Designs at 1478 Lake Road, Westport, which is the former car wash and laundry. And you are.
I am Kevin Page. Good evening, board.
One.
Here to answer any questions. I've owned and operated a sign company in Albany for over 30 years. Been part of the Rochester area for the same amount. I've got family in Webster. And now I have family here in Hamlin. Recently married and looking to open up a part-time sign business here in the area. I think we really need it for the community. And it's something I can do on weekdays and weekends when I'm here. I am normally in town every 7 to 10 days. I come in for 4 to 5. And then I go back to Albany where my business is primarily located. And Dave Dix, I reached out to him back in December when the property became available. Somebody else had taken care of, had secured that location, the single bay next to the laundromat. And at that time, he was going to entertain that. I understand it did not work out for the town. And he had contacted me. I was still interested. Primarily, I can work out of my house, out of my car with my sign business. I do have some local people in the area that have gotten signs from me and are planning to, including Christ Chapel and another daycare as of today back in Virgin. And so I think it's a really good thing. I plan on being open, again, only 4 to 5 days a week by appointment only, every 7 to 10 days. And this way here, it's survived for over 30 years back in Albany. I think it's a really good thing for the community.
Okay, with that being said, thanks for the presentation. JP, we have a previous site plan.
Yeah, I mean, we're not proposing any site changes. This parking needs are gonna be minimal. Traffic's gonna be minimal. No, I don't see using any impact on sewer or water or drainage or any of that stuff, so. I guess the only question is if there's a change of use in there, and your card just does mention custom welding and fabrication.
It does.
And, I know we had a welding concern there at previous application.
At the other end of the building.
Yeah, with the, storage of torches and those kinds of things, so. But we've brought it up before, that it, probably gonna be building code related stuff, but, just like,
And I can address that to the town also. You know, primarily my business is vehicle lettering and graphics. I do some store front signs, but I don't try to get into the electrical unit because then you got insurance and bucket trucks and employees. So I try not to do that. When my customers come to me, they say, okay, I need a banner, I need vehicle lettering, I'm a contractor. Basically, people that work out of their house and they're looking for yard signs, stuff like that. So if I need to do anything, it's at a minimal basis. There will not be vehicles in and out of there like you've seen in the past. And I can provide a portfolio if needed for the town of the stuff I've done.
Okay, well, we're gonna go through everybody here, and just to get a feel, this is more of a sketch plan type of conference, and there's gonna be no final approval tonight. But, this just helps everybody know what page they're at. Before we go too much further, Keith, we had very similar, this property has had multi-uses over the last few years, not dissimilar from what we had up here, okay? Do we have any other concerns about multi-uses on the property that's been done in the past out of a singular building like this? Any concerns you might have, the legalese or the approval process?
I think every time you see a site plan that's being modified, the intent of the question becomes, does the use drive any impacts on the site that need to be changed? Or does past experience raise any issues that haven't worked out as promised and that presents an opportunity to fix that thing? Whether it be parking, dumpsters, that kind of stuff. But truly, from a legal point of view, this is, it's unlisted under secret. Doesn't sound like we're doing all that much different. So I have no deep concerns here.
Okay. Cheryl, I'm going to get back to you. I'm going to go to the other end of the board.
So which bay is it that you're going to be
The
taking?
first bay to the left of the laundromat.
Okay.
And David Dex has already contacted me. I mean, we went over the property because other people in the past have said, oh, I'll help you clean it up and this and that. And he's already contacted me as far as upgrading his signage and changing the name of it, which I already got him a sign application from Cheryl. And, upgrading that to Spin Cycle Laundromat, cleaning it up a bit and making everything more presentable.
So, and you're proposing a sign above your bay as well as, is it a full graphic that's on the garage
It's
door?
a full graphic. I was approaching the board as far as that because going through the application process rather than prolonging it, I'd like to do a wrap which shows some different photos of boats, RVs, trucks I've done. It will be full color. And it would show some different ideas just as people are driving through the fork to give them an idea of what they can do. And then it would say KMT Designs, please call for appointment. And I would make arrangements for that at that time. So it would be a sign, I apologize.
So I'd start off with.
Sorry. I thought I silenced it. So basically, I would meet them there and tell them when I'm available in the town. If it was a small sign, my computer travels with me. I can design it right in front of you. I can pull up a 1998 Chevy 1500, change the color, show you your vehicle logos right on it, print it out the next week, and make arrangements to put it on the site.
Cool. All right, similar question here. Thank you.
Jim, can I add? two questions. First is the spillover on the outside of the building with boats, RVs, and cars.
Mhm.
And the fact that you said that part of the time you're out of Hamlin, part of the time you're in Hamlin.
Yep.
And the second question is because your ad does say welding on it, and I'd like to know what type of solvents do you use in the business of making signs?
Okay,
Because I think you got a problem with heat and fuel.
totally understandable. The first question was because it is by appointment only, I would only have them drop it off. I usually come in Thursday evening, Friday morning, work through the weekend, including today, Mondays, Tuesdays. I have to be here next Monday for the Chapel Town Board meeting, church meeting. And I can make my arrangements as part of the customer. As far as welding and that, it's just something that I've done in my past. Part of my prior business was welding and restoring antique cars. I no longer do that, but because I am so ample with welding and that, sometimes sign structures need to be fixtured with either a 4-inch round pipe going in the ground or aluminum welding for the frame. So I kept all of that equipment, and that's minimal.
If you look at the picture, and you can see the two blue canvases at the top of the picture, and there's some boats that have been there for quite a period of time. And it doesn't really look good.
Okay?
You didn't really answer the solid question, I think. Are there combustibles as part of the sign making?
It would be, welding gas is totally closed off, of course, with the sealed tanks. But there is no combustibles. We use Rapid Tack, which is an adhesive promoter, and I have all the sheets on that, and I have Rapid Remover, which takes off any glue. Well, other than that, I use Windex and isopropyl alcohol.
A few questions. I want to just be clear, are you just renting one bay, or are you buying the building, or?
Renting one bay.
Okay.
I'm on primarily a 6-month lease with him, just to see how it goes, because I told Dave that I can work out of my house, but this is something that I think would be good to the town, and it's proven so because as of Thursday, I started putting up signs, small real estate signs, election signs. Back in Leroy, I already got the first phone call from a daycare center back in Bergen, and they're interested. So I think it's a really good thing to, remove just the banner style signs and get something a little bit more permanent to the town.
Are you doing printing signs there, or are you gonna be just a storefront with a computer?
It's primarily storefront, but I do have the capability to cut and print signs there also. I don't do the old hand painted signs. I do printed graphics and vinyl lettering.
Yeah, that's good. What type of machine do you use?
I use a Roland color cam, and that way there I can do latex printing on top of the vinyl, so it's full color. And this way here, there's no solvents or anything. I don't use a solvent base, and any garbage I will be taking away from the site. I'm using the Flexi Sign program. It's great. I'm actually a subcontractor. So.
Is that bay completely separated, closed off from the other bay?
There is a walk-through door, but Dave had said that he was going to change the locks to the other bays so that mine would be separate.
Okay. I think the other curiosity, when you do like lettering on a vehicle, do you pull it in, or are you gonna do lettering on the side?
A little bit of both. It all depends on the day and the atmosphere. The bay is bonus because it does have a lift in it. I do not wish to use it as a mechanic's bay or anything, but sometimes I'm going to be 50 years old And sometimes getting down on the bottom of the rocker panels and stuff, I like to lift up the vehicles and make sure it's secure. So it's a bonus for that. Other than that, it's been, it looks like a single bay that is price effective for my business for the time I'm gonna be there. And it would work, not only for myself, for the town.
No issue with any fumes at all between the bays for somebody else?
All I need is 120 volt power for my computer, and I can bring my vinyl in and print it out, cut it out, do everything right on site.
Is there a point of egress from this bay that's not dependent on the adjoining bay? It looks like you just got garage doors on both ends.
Yes, there is. Not to my knowledge, there's a point of egress. It's just a through bay, whether it be a car wash or that. The other two tenants at the end are rarely there, once a month.
You just want to make sure it's a safe way for you or any other occupants to get out of that space, and you can't rely on a garage door to do that.
There's a front and a rear garage door, and there's also a entry exit that goes to the laundromat.
The adjoining space.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how that works out from the code standpoint. I'll leave that to staff to figure out.
There'll be a fire marshal.
Yeah, could be an issue.
Linda?
No, I don't have any questions. They covered almost everything that I can think of.
Yeah, I wish I was 50 years old again.
29 and a half, you're almost there.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Anyway,
When was it?
what are your hours of operation again?
My hours of operation here in Hamlin would be by appointment only. When I'm home, I'm primarily cooking for the wife and mother-in-law and taking care of business when I can. I see my family back in Webster and take care of that, but I hope that business would get more better. More.
Is this gonna be like a satellite office or?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. My business in Albany takes care of me 40 plus hours a week. But I have to be here also.
So as you get the business, then you'd come here and take care of the business here?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. I hate throwing out names and stuff, but like Koval's Tree Service. He just called me, he just said, hey, I got 3 trucks. I need some lettering, I need it updated, my sign guy is no longer in business. What can you do for me? I designed everything, text message, emailed him, and delivered it to his house. There was no intrusiveness on the town or anybody. I dropped it off, collected a check, and I can write in the books, Hamlin, Monroe County, and collect the tax. Have a good day.
So do you like hand letter vehicles?
I
too?
don't. I do computer lettering
Oh,
and digital graphics. Again, hate to throw out names like Billy Fasola, the huge on the side of the bus and stuff like that. I do full color graphics. I do vehicle lettering. If you have a handyman business and you just want a small magnetic for the side of the truck, you don't have to do it online anymore. I can do it right here, design it to you, text message it, email it, send it off.
or everything you do is huge.
I hope not, but
Okay. I'm coming back to you, Cheryl, because this site isn't without, I don't know how I want to put it. Without
Challenges?
Some challenges.
without discretion.
Okay. And this is kind of a meet and greet for us.
Absolutely.
There's gonna need to be a public hearing, I think, on this, all right? So a lot of the things that have been discussed tonight, and what your well wishes are, and what ours might be, okay? Based on, things that have been brought up about safety, what the fire marshal will wanna do, which Mr. Hitler talked a little bit about, the printing business and stuff, because that was his forte for most of his life in
Excellent.
Boston, okay? As well as some housekeeping issues for your landlord, okay? The fork in our road is in and out of town, and we want it to look good, and if you're the man that put a pretty face on that, that's great, okay? But I think I'd also like at this time there's an opportunity, like Keith was explaining, and one of the reasons why I led into the discussion to start with, is to reinvent this site, okay? That building becomes kind of a billboard to the town.
It's a staple.
Okay, and we'd like to see the site cleaned up. And it seems like the landlord would like that also. So there's things that might not have a direct bearing on you and your business. They're gonna become part and parcel of the approval process for this site, okay? Questions I have for you is some of the things that have been discussed tonight, the issues of what need to be taken care of internally, emergency access, might need to put a man door in one of those garage doors, or put the garage door up and put a partition in there of some sort so that there is a emergency. I don't know, we leave that up to the fire marshal and the code enforcement. But those are the things.
Who would the fire marshal be, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, it's Ron Bragg,
I'm Greg.
and I can contact him, and he has a full-time job, but he does.
Would you be able to, the question I have, if you need a public hearing and you need to have approval, okay, for this, would you be ready for a public hearing and being able to, between you and the property owner, put something together for like next month, or would you need another month?
I don't see a problem with next month. It's a pretty easy business. Whatever I don't have here in stock, one of my suppliers
Well,
is right in Buffalo.
it's more site specific.
Yeah.
Okay. What we need to have, so checking with Ron, yourself, and all of those stuff, I just wanna make sure that you'd be ready
Mhm.
for a public hearing, so we can move you along.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, the idea is a good one. I'm pretty sure there's a need for it. Would someone like to make a motion to schedule a public hearing for this property? Mr. Page for next month?
I'll make a motion for the commercial site plan application of Kevin Page, owner David Dix, taking commercial site plan approval for a public hearing for the date,
August 3rd.
August 3rd.
I second that.
Call the vote, sure.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Steve Law,
Yes.
Chris Slider,
Yes.
Steve Hittner,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Belton.
Okay, very good. Thanks for your presentation. You'll be able to hone it, shorten it, and turn your phone off for the next one.
I appreciate that, and I apologize again. Thank you.
Okay, there's another item on the agenda.
Although another item has come up.
Right.
What, are we talking about
Well, no,
the marina, or are we
the
talking about?
marina to a certain extent.
He did not come in because he still has quite a few issues with the Army Corps of Engineers, and has not received any type of approvals from them as of yet. So that's why he took himself off.
Okay. It's a marina down there behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, next to me.
Yes, sir.
It hasn't been in operation now for over 3 years.
Right.
What we're trying to do.
So although it lends itself perfectly to a marina, because that's what it was. All right. They need to go through the hoops. Okay. And is the issue with the ability to get in and out changed at all?
No, that has not changed. The other person involved has now put his house up for sale, and is going to leave the issue to this new person.
Okay. just, Keith, with a little bit of brevity, how can a bank subdivide a parcel or take a parcel that had some significance for granting use to a property adjacent to it when it was originally owned by the same family? How can a bank, because it went into foreclosure, just turn around and subdivide it and sell the lot off and deny access to a marina on federal waters? How can they do that?
I can't say I'm following all that.
There's an entrance to that marina. Okay, those waters are federal waters, US coastal waters. It has always been an opening in a harbor. Okay, the bank sold the property, it's just subdivided it off, changed the ownership. Okay, when it was owned by the same people. Okay, and just then tell the person that buys it, well, you own the bottom of it, the property underneath it, but the property that's a marina has riparian rights. How can the new owner, okay, who happens to be a real estate broker, all right, come up and go to charge the person that owns that has now bought the marina $60,000, $100,000 to let boats go in and out?
I never heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah? I never heard that.
He took the wire and the barrels down.
Well, he had to, that was very, young.
Right.
What water rights are challenging? The rules.
Riparian rights of the property of the marina property.
And when it comes to a bank in a foreclosure, they have the option if feasible to break up the property and sell it off bit by bit if you can maximize the sale price, because the whole goal of the foreclosure is to make the lender and ultimately the original owner whole if that's even possible, which it usually isn't. So if you max out the sale price by breaking it up, the bank gets paid and might be money left over.
Okay, let's take the water out of it. I'm creating scenarios. Let's take the water out of it. You have two parcels, okay? The back parcel's farmland. The front parcel's a residential piece of property. Okay, but the farmer's always had access over that parcel. Okay, there is an access right, so that the back parcel was not denied access to a public highway. Okay, the bank does not have the right to cancel that access to that farmer if there always was access there and there was an easement or a right.
Well, that would be correct, in as much as if the bank owns the frontage parcel, the residential parcel,
Right.
assuming we took it by foreclosure, it could only take what the original owner owned. And if there was a master parcel and the farmer was, his land was subdivided off of the master parcel, the parcel out back, the farmland, maintains an easement of necessity to the right of way.
You're right.
Now, that may not be well defined, which is why they like to have easements laid out on paper so you avoid these arguments, but they still have some level of easement to get out to the front, unless somebody decided to convey the easement in some fashion along the way.
It's funny, all the records disappeared.
Isn't there just like navigation laws?
Okay, so what is done is you're taking a parcel, okay, that is denied access, okay, a landlocked parcel, which is illegal by zoning law, okay, no different with riparian rights, especially in federal waters. What I mean by federal waters, when I rebuilt the roof on my boathouse, of course, I gotta get every permit because everybody looks through my fishbowl, okay? And I'm told by the Army Corps that I can't let any wood fall into the federal waters in my boathouse because a boat can go in and out. I had to put a tarp in there and it had to be.
Yeah, I think there's navigable,
You
if it's
bet there
navigable
is.
water, and
You bet there is.
even if it's over your land.
Okay, but the bank created a problem,
Travel over navigable water.
okay, and now someone's trying to make additional money. Okay? I have an issue with the bank creating an illegal parcel and denying access, okay, to a previous business that was a taxpayer in this town.
What the banks routinely do in foreclosure, when they sell at auction, is they are selling it subject to zoning violations. And they don't care how the zoning violations got there, because their goal is to unload the land, max the sale price. And you routinely buy properties at auction down at the Hall of Justice, and you're taking your chances. No question.
Okay, where does a town like Hamlin take a complaint of this nature?
Well, assuming it's ours to take, which it may not be.
We've been denied use of that property as marina. I know the guy's gotta go through all kinds of stuff in the house, but has not been able to provide any tax benefit or commercial benefit to this town based on the action of a bank creating a basically land or water lot parcel.
Zombie.
Yes. I'd like to know where you take things like that, because it's no different.
Well, customarily, state Supreme Court.
Yeah, but you're gonna take it to the Supreme Court. Okay. We've been there.
Didn't they have to subdivide to sell it off like that though?
It sold the lot as a residential lot. Okay,
Was it originally 2 lots or always one?
it was 2 lots owned by the same person, and the person that owned the marina lived in that house. Okay. It's nothing said, it's just, it's an exercise. Okay.
Infertility.
Yeah, but it's something that municipalities have to deal with all the time, because the banks, like you said, they're less. About the municipal aspect of it. We had one other thing, Cheryl, you had the discussion.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, I know, now I have to get my thoughts together. Borrego Solar, 9/11, our fence code for solar does not match up with our fence code, general fence code. The general fence code says, maximum height of 6-foot fence. The solar code says minimum height of 6 feet. So they both were gonna go for variances. But the town attorney said that because the codes don't match up, it should be a minimum of 7 feet, not a minimum of 6 feet in the solar code. So they both will not have to go for a variance, and then it will be a job for zoning workshop to look at in the fall.
Now,
So,
the concern,
well, so that being said, with 980 Redmond Road, we're waiting until we received everything, and then we're gonna go and do the
Lead agency.
thank you, lead agency, and we have all the information. Now that they do not have to go for that, they only have to go for a conservation development permit, because they're near some federal wetlands, right, Jean? Can we start the lead agency process, or do we have to wait till they're totally done?
if we didn't send them to zoning, they would have been at a point in time where they could have went for the conservation
Sooner.
development permit sooner. We'd have enough completeness to go to lead agency, because we wanted those issues taken care of. Okay. Now, because there's ambiguity with the code versus the law, we've held them up another month. Okay. I'm not happy with the way the presentation went at the last meeting, especially what happened out in the parking lot to our code compliance officer based on the representation, but I have a hard time, getting back at them, because that day will come, all right? But, do we have the right, now that we have the packet, to send this stuff out for lead agency? They're gonna have to get a conservation corridor permit anyways before they get a building permit.
And they have to come for public hearing,
And they have
correct?
to come for a public hearing.
Yes, the conservation the conservation corridor development permit's not really a big issue anyway. It's one small aspect of the larger package. For purposes of circulating documents for seeker, you have to know who the agencies are. If zoning was or was not the agency, we weren't sure. We could have notified them anyway and just left it at that, just to cover our backsides. So if that's the only issue that was holding folks up, we can do it right now. To start it, in essence, sending out notice of your intent to become lead agency, giving them 30 days to object. For a type 1 action.
Not that I want to play nice, I never want to play nice, and this thing has become, I don't know whose Christmas card list we're on this year now. But that being said, I just think it's the right thing to do. To go forward, get this stuff out, and sure, I'll have no meetings with any of those people unless somebody else is present.
Correct.
I would call the sheriffs.
Correct.
All right, so with that being said, Keith, what do we need to get started for this?
If I may make a recommendation, I would suggest that someone make a motion that the planning board declare its intent to become lead agent of a type 1 coordinated review under seeker, that you direct the planning board clerk to send out notices to all the involved agencies and wait 30 days to give them the opportunity to respond. That would be the motion I would suggest somebody make at this point.
Okay, I'm gonna ask somebody in a minute there.
Okay. What's the address of the property at this point?
980 Redmond Road.
Thank you. Okay, I make the motion that the planning board, for the purposes of this proposed solar field at 980 Redmond Road, take the intent to be lead agency for that project, and we consider it a type 1 action with a coordinated review under seeker, and that the clerk be directed to send notices to all involved agencies.
I'll second.
Linda Drew? Yes. Dave Martin?
Yes.
Steve Law?
Yes.
Chris Schleider?
Yes.
Steve Hittner?
Yes.
James Nesbitt?
Yes.
Mark Fellowstaff?
Yes.
Now I do have one more thing to say, is that when I spoke to Mr. Johans today, they are intent on coming in on August 3rd for a public hearing. We did not make a motion to schedule a public hearing for them.
I don't think you're gonna get everything back in 30 days from now. I mean, you could. But
We didn't make a motion to schedule a public hearing for
You
them.
can't have a
So-
public hearing before you
You
hear
have
from
all
the
this
people
stuff.
that you're sending to.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it, you know, it,
I suspect they'll be quite happy with moving forward. And if they're not happy enough, too bad. I mean, that's pretty much where you're at.
And then August 3rd,
exactly.
we can make a
So
motion.
the public hearing.
I don't know if we got much else. I've got one thing for JP. The town of Hamlin does not have copyable maps of its town. Nor have they had for quite a while. It'd be really nice to be able, when we have a meeting here on our bulletin board, to have a town map. We could put up that might, instead of the little zoning maps this big.
Yeah.
Tributary map, LWRP map. There's probably a cost that goes along with that.
I think I don't know the county before I ordered them
Yeah,
in
the
my
county,
office.
the county has quite a few of them.
Town of Hamlin maps?
GIS.
Yeah,
Or
the
GPS.
department does.
Well, do you think you could chase that down
Yeah,
for
we
us?
can
Because
look.
I'd really like to be able on a presentation when we're talking about commercial and when we're talking about LWRP, which is gonna be coming up.
And I think the county did your
Right.
your
But I think you
zoning.
could do a really good
I
one.
did.
Or make sure we had a really good one, maybe in color.
Yeah.
Okay, or one that could be copyable.
Yeah, I haven't seen a nice copy of your color county prepared
Okay.
zoning map.
I have one in my office, and I have it laminated.
Is Is that still with PES, Mike Garland?
Yeah,
Is Mike still there?
I think so.
Mike's ahead now.
Really?
Yeah, he's been there for a while. I could reach out to him and see if he can get some.
Yeah, I mean,
I really,
Yeah.
any way it can happen.
Yeah.
It's a lot more professional. And
but I know for example, your map for the DRC is ancient. I mean, it's all those federal wetlands and things you can hardly tell where they are.
A lot of things are gonna change as part of the LWRP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of, because we talked about master planning, all this other stuff. And, you gotta write that down.
Yeah, there's some much better mapping you can add.
This is the day of mapping. Okay. It's not for the town board. The zoning law change. If we need to have it. The wording. Okay, for solar.
Yeah.
Okay. If there's gonna be any costs or anything involved in maybe map, in some of the map, you can talk to.
Yeah.
See what can be provided free of charge, but as far as the printing, labeling business, if you get a hold of Ron Bray, okay,
I will, yeah,
okay. See if we can get Steve here involved, Mr. Nicker,
okay.
to meet up with, Mr. Page and the fire marshal and, between the two of you, businessmen, put your heads together and see a good way to go about it. Would that be okay, Steve? Does anybody else have anything else?
Yeah, I do have a question. I mentioned Sherwood. Is there anything on the books in Hamlin in regards to violation on a property and then not being allowed
I'm sure there is somewhere in there, yes, I'm sure there is.
to, you know of anything, Keith?
Violation of the property.
If there's a violation on a property, can the new application for a change in that property occur and be granted?
You could certainly do it. I mean, there's some court cases that speak of the ability to deny new relief while you have old relief pending. But, and that's why some towns will do it, other towns will just do it, with kind of a dare you, take us to state Supreme Court, because then we'll counterclaim for the other thing, so it's.
It's like in Pittsburgh, it's like they have a local law that says you can't, if you have a substandard violation, you can't be granted a new permit on that property until that violation is satisfied.
I think you could do that if you want, but we could do a local law.
If there isn't one already, there might be one already, I'll look into that.
That's a good idea.
The reason being, on something like this gentleman's case here, we're having the owner clean up the property, and kind of saying to him that, when he's clean, it's not his fault or problem. It should be the owner's, and a violation should be written to make him clean the property.
Yeah.
I will offer this because I've heard this argument time and again over, a quarter of a century or so. The tenant and the owner are in the same boat. It's just that way. And if that seems unfair, then the tenant needs to talk to the landlord and say, gee whiz, if you don't sort this out, I'm not going to make any money.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to penalize him. What I'm saying is that it would behoove the landlord, if he wants to rent the space and make money, to clean up so that he can lease the space.
Oh, I agree with that.
It's a way to put pressure on him so that he can still gain more revenue.
And he's very receptive to that, I've had many conversations with Mr. Dix. But the cars that are there are all legal cars.
And the
They have
boats are
plates.
gone. The only
The
thing that's
boats
there
are all
is,
gone.
there's only the one partial car and a truck, I think, back there right now or something.
It is illegal. Those that have plates, they're registered, they're insured. We did make sure that he could, the tenant did do that, so they can stay there. But there are a couple lawnmowers that will be removed very shortly.
I just brought it up because we had a discussion, you had already talked to the property owner.
Are there any state grants available for property owners or own commercial properties to increase the value of the property by cleaning it up? I know, I was from before in Massachusetts, it was 8 grand to build
I
to
don't know
put
if there's any.
facades on
I don't know.
buildings.
I
Yeah,
don't
there's
think there
Main,
are.
they call Main Street beautification grants.
Yeah.
They do have it.
Okay.
I just thought we should look into,
The damage.
Pardon?
so we should look into some of the property owners that we have, you know? I think that there are several commercial buildings that we have, but does not seem to be much of an incentive for the owners to do anything with it.
I'd like a list. If you have a list, I would like a list. I know that we just had some things going on with Bob's Grocery.
That's one,
It's all, we had a problem with the ramp. It's full of water. The owner actually, and it always fills with water, but the, owner came down with some of his workers and they cleaned it all out and they thought it was a highway, our highway department issue, but it's a state road, so they had to contact the state to fix the drainage.
right?
So,
I was just wondering if in general, and you were saying yes, next year programs,
They're out there.
so we maybe look into it one time and offer to.
We want Duffy Miles.
I was just there. I've got some pictures to show everybody.
When are
On
the
a
courts
slideshow.
coming back in session? When are we gonna be able to do it?
As far as I know, August 3rd, but that's not a given. It's not a given.
Is
Tentatively,
there
August 3rd.
a corner store on the back?
That's the thing. There are a couple places on the docket. But there's some
Yeah, you
backlog, who knows when it's gonna be on the docket.
If you were the fire marshal, man, in there?
No, we're gonna make a surprise visit this week when Ron's off.
You go by there every day and take a picture. Every day.
Oh, the biggest thing is he's painting in there.
Yep,
Yeah,
we know, yeah, we're aware of that,
Quite the
Yeah.
party going on there tonight.
trying to,
That's the sign.
now it's getting to the point where I send him the certified letters and he doesn't pick them up anymore.
I'm more concerned of the painting and then.
Yeah.
The fact that he could
That's
blow
why the
that
fire
whole
marshal
place
has to
up.
get in there.
So is there anything else from the board?
I had a question that was, of course, in the middle of town, the sign, about getting sign approval, and to approve the sign for the vape shop.
There is no sign approval, he's being sent to court for the sign permit, for failure to sign permit and failure to pay the engineering fees that we have approved through MRB.
I'm just saying, because it's right in the middle of town, and
We have,
it's that guy smoking a joint
Yeah.
surrounded by pot leaves, and I think
well,
that is not what we want to represent.
we
I think,
understand that would have been a planning board issue to make a motion, to include it in the motion, from what I understand from the town attorney and the courts. So I think I have 2 or 3 tickets for the vape shop, and I have a lot of tickets for somebody else, but we can't do a thing until the court's open, unfortunately.
Just to let you know, it's summertime, a lot of people are coming to our town.
But you know what?
And the Hamlin Beach,
Yeah.
everybody drives right by there.
You know what? I have not had one complaint about the vape shop or the cars. I send him certified letters all the time, like he's not supposed to park in the front, no motorcycles, no cars, no trucks. He just,
Does it make any difference for a formal written complaint versus just us?
I don't have any formal written complaints, and I only have one telephone complaint.
I'm just saying, would it make, are there any more teeth in a written formal complaint versus just somebody calling?
Somebody can call in, he doesn't have, and they can say whether they want to be a complainant or not.
Formal complaints have to be given to the town clerk. Okay.
I didn't know, I don't know.
Any correspondence? Any correspondence?
I don't
To
know.
the town, any town or municipality, make it official, it has to be deposited in the catalog, and time date stamp
Okay.
by the town clerk.
I don't know about that, we just write the tickets per the town attorney's
Well, that's fine,
instructions.
I'm just saying, if
Yeah.
somebody comes in,
Yeah,
and they can't get a hold of you,
Mhm.
they go to the town clerk.
oh,
All
okay, yeah.
correspondence, and at a town board meeting, any correspondence that is received from a resident is usually read.
Mhm,
Okay.
that is true.
So, and,
But we're just waiting
if
for
that's
court
what
to
it
open.
takes, call your in-laws. So, all right, do we have any other motions, Linda?
No, my concern was the corner, but you answered all of those.
I just thought maybe you might want to make a motion for that.
Sure.
Well, to make a motion, oh, I thought you might be interested in my opinion.
No,
Oh.
no,
Oh, okay, I'll make a motion that we, close the meeting.
Second.
Full votes?
Linda DeRue,
Yes.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
Steve Law,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
Steve Nesbit,
Yes.
Steve Hittner,
Yes.
Mark Ellis.
Yes.
Is that like everybody in the room is smiling? I think he's smiling.
Always.
That's because we're on candid camera.
Can't tell, he could have sticking his tongue out there the whole meeting.
Hey, JP,
Yes.
one quick question. Retention time, housing track. Okay, and when the track was built, we set a certain design. The developer taking soil out of the retention pond to backfill another house in another location. I don't think that's legal because I don't think we can control the volume of the retention pond.
No.
Maybe you ought to talk to Jim Peter next time you go around.
Oh, yeah. Well, we haven't accepted that. I know you told me in the past that was.
Here we go. Build a house up there.
Solar farm this side.
And all the retention